Hello, everyone. Welcome to this seventh session of the Oxford Geoconservation Virtual Conference in 2022. I am Catalina Gonzalez, independent researcher of the group of environmental geology and tectonic in the FIT University and the Mixed Research Unit 2008 PALOC at the National Museum of Natural History in Paris. So before we start with the flash tag today, I would like to remind you that the posters are still available to view, and we encourage you to leave some questions to them. They will be more than happy to answer to you on the Discord server. Also, remember you can write all the questions you have for the speakers on the YouTube comments, on the Facebook chat, and in the Discord server. So, no more. Let's start with the show and welcome Ilmars. Hello, Ilmars. How are you?
Morning, Catalina.
Good morning. So remember, you have 5 minutes and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this brief presentation on the Geoconservation Trust Aotearoa Pacific, coming to you from New Zealand in the South Pacific, where it is currently 1 a.m. and so I will try and be as coherent as I can, and I apologise for looking like I've just seen a ghost. Thank you to the organisers of this conference, and thank you for your interest in this talk. So who we are, I'd also like to thank my colleagues, good friends and fellow founders of the Trust. I'm sure our chairperson, Carolee Nemeth, is no stranger to many of you. Carolee is Professor of Geology at Massey University, New Zealand, and is a keen advocate for geoconservation and geoheritage worldwide, as well as in the Pacific, and I'm looking forward to his presentation following this. Christopher Twemlow is a Forest Health Ranger, Indigenous Project Delivery Manager and UAV Specialist for the Department of Conservation, which is a New Zealand government agency, and myself, call myself a science communicator, researcher and advocator for geoheritage and geodiversity research and projects, and I also work part-time in a public library and have a keen interest in information sciences and community education. Next slide. So, the formal structure of our trust has kind of been an organic development up to now, come about through an informal working relationship, as well as a wide range of shared interests and a personal friendship. And while undertaking field work, as well as engaging with and working for a range of government and non-governmental organisations, it's become apparent that here in New Zealand, the concept of geodiversity is relatively unknown and is given no explicit space within the wider framework of conservation in our country. New Zealand, some of you may know, it is rightly renowned for its natural environment and world-famous conservation initiatives. However, to date, conservation is focused largely on its unique flora and fauna, and in the context of biodiversity and significant ecological landscapes, as has been necessary, and we wouldn't argue otherwise. However, given that New Zealand's internationally recognised landscapes with their high aesthetic, cultural and tourist values are shaped by the geological history of the Zealandia continent, we see a role for geoconservation in New Zealand through a transdisciplinary, independent and agile organisation, building a sustainable and low-impact framework for protecting and promoting New Zealand's unique, fragile and world-class geological features within a culturally and environmentally rich landscape. So here we can sum up our vision and mission in a nutshell: to see natural geological features in New Zealand valued as highly as flora and fauna, and to increase awareness of geology as a fundamental pillar of conservation alongside that flora and fauna. And I'll just note something else here, which I do confess I kind of uplifted from an interview I heard some time ago on the radio. We consider ourselves locally rooted in leadership and globally informed. And we aim to become a not-for-profit hub of funding, resources, expertise in geology, paleontology, archaeology, indigenous knowledge systems, sociology, history, land use, law, and communications. So finally, onto our brief overview of our current program and works in progress. And here I particularly highlight our program of geodiversity and research and facilitating community-driven geoconservation ventures on the Coromandel Peninsula in New Zealand. In fact, it was working on this project together that led to the establishment of a not-for-profit charitable trust. In addition, I would like to acknowledge here Massey University PhD student Vladislav Zakharovsky, who has undertaken a great deal of work in this area and applied some of this work to Samoa and other areas of New Zealand, and continues to work on developing geodiversity assessment. So to sum up, I thank you for your interest in my talk. I invite you to visit our website, geoconservation.org, and I welcome any questions you might have later on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ilmaz, for the talk. And now we welcome Carolee to the room. Hello, Carolee. How are you?
Hi, fine. Thank you, Catalina. I'm ready.
So,
So in New
the floor is
Zealand.
yours.
I have to. Oh, very good.
There
Fantastic. Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone from the organizers to offer this flash talk. Today, obviously 5 minutes is not enough for providing a full breadth of information about this fairly cataclysmic, catastrophic explosive eruption which take place in Tonga on 15th of January 2022. Obviously, there was impossible to essentially avoid not to hear about this event. The news spread across every social media, normal media, and everywhere, well beyond of the scientific boundary of the world. And essentially, this was possible because the first time ever an eruption was observed by a satellite which was flying over the region, and all those data provided enough information to coming up with some amazing scientific results so far by various geophysical research groups, which said that this eruption was probably one of the largest in the last 100-200 years time, and probably the eruption itself, it was one of the eruption what we call as a millennial event. Just purely volcanological sense, this means that we are talking about a VE, volcanic explosivity index 6 category eruption, which had over 55 kilometer tall eruption plume and generated a tsunami which has been recorded across the Pacific and beyond, generated a shock waves which was recorded many places across the globe. So all these things pointing toward that fact that this eruption, obviously something which going into the memory of the human society, and we will remember of it in the same way how we're remembering to the Krakatau eruption or the Pinatubo eruption in the other similar scale of event. The only problem is if you're looking at in this picture in the middle of where this eruption take place is in the middle of the Pacific in an intraoceanic arc settings with a volcano which is partially submerged and only small islets were poking out from the Pacific Ocean. So it means that this area was not really known or considered as an extremely important location in the volcanological maps or a mind, and produced an eruption which produced eruptive products which fly over the Pacific, and deposited in the Pacific Ocean, and probably most of the deposits preserved in the sea floor. So this actually raising some issue, and I just dragging this diagram here from BRILA 2016 framework as a conceptual framework, how we are looking at geoheritage. And you can see that in this framework, the pathway from the natural diversity, geodiversity going to essentially to a way that if something has a scientific value, in situ or ex situ, that can be translated in some sort of geoheritage. The only problem with this Tonga eruption, that the scientific research is fairly limited so far. Very likely the information will be logged in a closed Western scientific system. And we're forgetting that part that probably from this type of eruptions or similar kind of events took place in many places in the Pacific in the past, and probably all those informations are somehow logged in a traditional knowledge, a traditional societal system. It means that how can we actually, and I'm raising the question here, how can we actually deal with this issue? How can we define the geoheritage value of something which has very limited or even no in situ remaining messengers kept on the surface today after the eruption itself, in a scale which is obviously resonates through the entire history. So there's two ways. First of all, probably, and that's basically the final things, we need to look a little bit deeper on these traditional knowledges, the oral traditions and legends and stories. This is what have been done by Patrick Nunn in the past with digging up several very interesting legends which pointing that similar kind of volcanic eruptions took place in the past in a much smaller scale but similar style. And those propagating through the traditional knowledge of these Polynesian societies. This is very nicely demonstrated from neighboring islands in Samoa, where the volcanic histories are going into even in a tattooing or the dance and movements and other kind of activities in the Polynesian society. So in summary, I just would like to point in an important issue here, that if we are pushing too much from the Western perspective of geoheritage in this way, which is basically the trend, we're probably losing information which is out there, and we probably need to harvest that. And we also not really able to transmit what we know from the Western perspective to the local community. Thank you.
Thank you, Karoli, for this talk about the millennial event. So now we will jump a little bit to Adina while we solve a small technical problem. So let me go to Adina. You're here. How are you?
Hello. Thank you. I'm fine.
So the floor is all yours.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Adina Popa from Hadze County UNESCO Global Geopark, Romania. I'm from the south, from East Europe and southwest of Romania, where my geopark is located. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be present in this important conference. And also I want to thank to my colleague Dan Horatiu Popa, who contributed to this presentation. I know that most of you don't want to remember the period of the COVID-19 pandemic time, but in that period of time, we had some lessons to learn, and also we have some good results, and this is the reason why I decided to share our good results with you today. I think we are online. So is anyone who didn't attend to at least one course or one conference since 2020 till now in online? I think there are just a few. So online became part of our lives and became part of the students' life. But a World Bank study released that the COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted education in over 150 countries and affected 1.6 billion students. So as in just many parts of the world. In Hatzekamp UNESCO Global Geopark, the restrictions imposed by the COVID-19 pandemic brought geoeducation from the field in online. This significant change in our approach to passing on information about geopark has produced outstanding results. We have managed to reach and work with many students simultaneously, and also our online educational programs attracted double the total number of students who attended to face-to-face classes, and students from other parts of the country who were interested in our programs. We also managed to bring online personalities, scientists, very famous in Romania, and to have a meeting with our students. This situation was quite impossible before the pandemic time, because we couldn't afford to bring so many students and teachers in the same time in one place and to facilitate face-to-face meeting with a scientist in Romania. Also online, we provoked students to have a voice and sustain their presentation in front of their colleagues and experts, and of course to interact directly with scientists or experts, and this important person to answer to the students' questions. In the Hatze country, there are 12 municipalities, each of them with primary and secondary schools. We have created several programs online for primary and secondary schools, which are, of course, most of them in rural areas. We aimed to maintain students' high interest and creativity on issues related to geodiversity, of course, biodiversity, and cultural heritage. ABCDino, for example, was an online program dedicated to primary schools. Students could learn about dwarf dinosaurs of Transylvania, but most of them, they had the possibility to create their own fairy tales, and the heroes were these unique dwarf dinosaurs. Also, we continued the online educational programs dedicated to primary schools this year with another program, which is Heritage to Read. It's a program where we encourage the people from primary school students to go in the community and to try to find out legends related to geology, local geology, or natural or cultural heritage, and also to share their experience with students from another territory, which has also UNESCO World Heritage Site there. So another project, which is the most successful project of our geopark, was named Edu Geopark Science School. Was an online project dedicated to secondary school students and teachers. And in each edition, a Romanian scientist was involved and invited to discuss subjects like the history of planet Earth, or observation, or dwarf dinosaurs, or so on. And we also have paid attention to education for the community. We brought in front of the students and the schools important experts in combating fake news, and help them to how to manage this important phenomena, because we can find fake news also in science. It was a good success, of course. All the programs were interactive, and they offered access to more than 400 students and teachers, which is an important number for our geopark. And to better understand how important our online programs have been to students, I present you a short testimony of a student who participated to our program at the Geopark Science School, and to see that it was important for her to meet scientists, to discuss with them, and of course to discover that it's no shame in asking questions or admit when we don't know something. So I don't want to to finish my presentation without to say good luck to my colleague Christina, which will be the next presenter. Thank you.
Thank you, Adina, for this positive view of the difficult context of the pandemic. And yeah, we continue with Romania then. We welcome Christina. How are you, Christina? Well, we don't hear you.
Yes, now it's perfect and you hear me. I'm very happy to be here and thank you very much for this.
The floor is all yours.
Thank you very much. So, I'm Cristina Toma. I'm from the University of Bucharest, also working in Hatze Country UNESCO Global Geopark as my colleague Adina. And today I'm going to present you a little bit about Sustainable Development Goals in Romanian geoparks. And I'm trying to move my slides, but nothing is happening. Nope. Nope. Still nothing. I don't know what's wrong. They are not moving. I'm sorry for this technical problem.
Hi, Christina. If you need to just hop back into the window where your PowerPoint slide is, and probably just give it at least one click with your mouse.
Okay. So now you see the change, I suppose. And
we see the change. You're carry on as if nothing happened.
Thank you very much for your help. So, coming back to my presentation, in 2015, Agenda 2030 came in place, which includes 17 Sustainable Development Goals and 169 targets. And the purpose of this 17 Sustainable Development Goals is to help signer states to focus on clear direction for sustainable development, which relates to the well-being of the planet, of the people, and to peace and strong partnerships. Also, Geoparks, as part of the UNESCO on Geoscience and Geoparks program, are promoting and sustaining the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals as common objectives for all members. Geoparks, as we know, are territories where geological, natural, and cultural heritage is managed in a sustainable way, promoting, protecting, conserving, and educating the public about its values. Geoparks are bottom-up approaches involving the local community in development initiatives. UNESCO Global Geoparks also established their main focus on 7 Sustainable Development Goals: no poverty, quality education, gender equality, decent work and economic growth, sustainable cities and communities, climate change, and partnerships for the goals. Coming to Europe and then to Romania, here is Romania. We have in Romania 2 UNESCO Global Geoparks. One is in the western part of Romania, Hatze Country UNESCO Global Geopark, and the other one is a freshly new UNESCO Global Geopark, Buzău Land. We have also 2 other initiatives of geoparks, Carpatera and Oltenia Under the Mountain, who are very important initiatives which would soon apply for the UNESCO status. Because the time is short, I'm going to move to concrete examples from how Romania's geoparks implemented the 7 Sustainable Development Goals. The first one, no poverty. The example is from the House of Geopark in Hatze Country UNESCO Global Geopark, and it's about creating job opportunities like guiding in visitor centers, or like this example from the House of Volcanoes with developing educational activities, or developing international projects like we had Geotour, in which we created a course for geotourism guides for locals in geoparks who may need a career change. And also, because I was talking about international projects, this may tackle also the 17th partnership, 17th Sustainable Development Goal with the partnerships. For quality education, the example is from Buzău Land Geopark, where we do workshops with high school children on climate change and on developing tools to measure air quality parameters and also to help them work with these parameters. In another yearly project, we take high school students in field application in Buzolan. This is a professor from the University of Bucharest who's teaching in Buzolan to high school children. And also Adina, my colleague, just presented a very, very important and high quality educational activities from Hatseg UNESCO Geopark. For gender equality, in Hatse country, we empower the women in community, in a small community, to create the Santa Maria Orlea Women's Association, which, in partnership with the Geopark, holds workshop with children involving local traditions, like dyeing wool with natural plants, like you see in the example. For decent work and economic growth, we empower the local craftsmen and women in Buzolan Geopark through a concept called creative traditions, helping them build new and useful objects for the 21st century with their old crafts, and also help them sell these objects via an online shop. For sustainable cities and communities, we encourage local producers, for example, through the GeoFood label, which is an international concept. And we have here an example from our partner restaurant, Chris Pasta from Hatseg Geopark. And their food has geological names related to scientific discoveries of dinosaur species from our geopark. For climate actions, we organize constant awareness campaigns on litter reduction and also cleaning campaigns like Carpatera initiative of Geopark did. And of course, we do workshops with children on climate change, as I mentioned, for Buzoland. And here are some examples on hands-on activities for high school students. And what I want to conclude is that all these are done in partnership with other geoparks, with schools, with local authorities, with the University of Bucharest. So there is no geopark if there is no cooperation and collaboration. And I thank you for this, and I hope I am in time.
Thank you, Christina. Thank you very much. You were on time, and thank you for showing us the contribution of the geopark to the SDGs. So now it's time for the questions. Muhammad, we will have him maybe for the next session. So let's start inviting everyone again to the room for the questions. So we have everyone here. Hello again.
Hello.
So let's see which questions. So for Caroli, we have a question from Benjamin. Hello, Benjamin. How can we converge different cultural approach towards a common understanding? Is that possible?
No, I didn't expect anything less from Ben commenting or questioning something like this. He always gives me a hard time on this. Yeah, that's exactly or kind of a message that I try to pose here. That there is a very fundamental and difficult issue here. I believe that there is some kind of a common trend in every culture, and this is what people tend to define as cosmovision or something similar. You know, how people actually look at and understanding their own environment. Essentially, the Western scientific approach is just a different track. We just have to find really somehow the parallelism or kind of a interlink between those two. So when when in the lecture I put and use Jose Brilla diagram, this famous and very well used kind of a diagram of the geoheritage systematics. Well, the point is that actually there are scientific knowledge exist within local communities about volcanic eruptions, geodisasters, as well as many things about the natural environment. Maybe they are not translated or not reflected in a Western perspective, but they are there. But if we are not really approaching or not try to find the interlink between those, our Western approach and those approaches, we may be missing a big chunk of information and opportunity, I think. So this is what my experience and vision in this.
Thank you, Carolee. And I hope Ben had the answer he expected. And so now a question for Ilmar. Your trust is doing great work. Do you intend to do policy engagement with politicians?
So I guess first of all, as a qualifier, I would say it's early days for us, but definitely, I think a real aim where we could hopefully have some effectiveness in shaping policy, especially relating to conservation. And as I mentioned in my my presentation, we have a very, I guess I'd call it a very abiotic bias towards conservation here in New Zealand, and there has been discussions that the current government is looking at a review of our conservation laws, and this is definitely the area where we would hope to be able to have input, not only from us but from other people in the context that we see ourselves as a cross-disciplinary organisation, and geoheritage is really just one of many environmental sciences that all need to be brought together to have a holistic approach to conservation. So once we get those politicians here, and this is where we hope to bring in other expertise like planning, legal expertise. So it's a big job, but we've made a start, and here's hoping. So thank you for that question.
Thank you, Ilmar. So here for the Hatek girls from the Geopark. Hatek here, do you have any activity using soils as geoheritage in the Geopark? So,
Adina, maybe you can.
Using soil, about soil, we have to we have some activities which are presenting actually the link between planet Earth, and man, and it is very important to for the students to understand that the geodiversity is the base for everything, and this is what we are trying to explain them. Of course, some of the activities are also linked about the soil and life there and so on.
Thank you, Adina. So here, another question for you. So maybe Christina will take the floor this time. What will Romania be organizing for the International Geodiversity Day? A great way to celebrate the links between geoheritage and the SDGs.
I do like this question. It's perfect. Yes, we are thinking of a big event in the new freshly UNESCO Global Geopark in Buzăuland, and I was actually talking, I think 3 days ago, with one of the colleagues from Buzăuland, and we were talking about something that is like the ball of the geoparks, to invite the geoparks there, and also the forum of the geoparks. So this is all in the context of the Geodiversity Day.
Thank you, Christina. We have time for other questions. I don't know if between you, do you have any question between you? No?
I just want to thank my colleagues from today for their great presentations. And I'm very happy to be among you, and I'm very honored to be here.
So congratulations all, because we had enough time to exchange. So now to switch to the other flash talks, we will leave you with a video. And thank you again all for your talks and sharing all your experiences.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, just while we are rotating everything around, a quick reminder to the speakers who've just spoken. Can you now leave the presentation room? And if you are speaking in the second half, please do use your presenter link now. And finally, you will have noticed that we unfortunately had to skip Mohammed, who I think is having connectivity issues. If you are out there, Mohammed, we can incorporate you into the second half. So do still please use your presenter link. But while we're waiting, we're going to see, there was a lot of praise the other day for the video from the Oxford University Museum of Natural History. So we thought we'd play it one more time, because as we can't be together sharing in that beautiful space, we might as well show it off virtually.
Woof! Just look at this place. This is such a good-looking natural history museum that Vienna and London wanted one of their own when they saw it. Intrigued? Stay tuned for killer roofs, rebel art, and bear whales. Yeah, I just said bear whales. Oh, and if you didn't know we were world-leading, here are some more amazing hidden secrets about the architecture of Oxford University Museum of Natural History, our beloved dodo home. What's this? These tucked-away curious carvings gently mock Darwin's just-published theory of evolution. How could a bear evolve into a whale? This is satire set in stone, which is awkward because the powers that be changed their mind, saw Darwin was right, and by 1899 put up this statue of him. Let's reverse a bit. Pre-bear whales, the museum was built at a time when science was seen as a way of understanding God's creation. Hence this lovely angel, hidden in plain sight right at the front door, holding a Bible in one hand and dividing cells in the other. That's cutting-edge science and religious imagery hand in hand. If you're making a cathedral, and they were, you'll want art. The makers hired the finest Irish stonemasons and a group of Bohemian artists known as the Pre-Raphaelites to design and carve meticulous copies of the natural world and sculptures of science in action, making this museum the biggest and best collection of Pre-Raphaelite sculpture in the world. Quite something, huh? You'd think, along with all these sculptures, that the roof would also have been carefully and meticulously planned. But haha! This fantastical roof was actually an experiment made out of those railway materials, iron and glass. Let's not mention that it actually collapsed in its first year. But the pillar of the design philosophy is that the building itself is there to teach you. Every single one of these columns, for example, is made from a different type of stone, lugged up to Oxford from all over the British Isles. This is a building that has geological teaching catalogues built into its very fabric. And on top of the pillars, an encyclopedia of plant carvings. And on top of these pillars, wrought ironwork of more species. So, you thought that this museum was a place to see dinosaurs, cabinets of things, and insects, right? But even if we hid all that stuff away, you wouldn't be able to escape learning about the natural world. This isn't a shed for specimens, it's an audacious building that actually teaches you as you walk through it. A world first. And it all starts by looking up. Just mind the pillars.
Hello everyone. I think we have sorted many a technical issue with connections all around the world. So what I'm going to advise to our wonderful chair today, who perhaps they would like to join me on screen, is that we do a bonus talk, because I think we have Mohammed joining us, Mohammed Yassin, in the room. So let's give Mohammed time to prepare his talk and get it ready. So perhaps we'll go through the 5 we've already got planned. We'll put Mohammed in at the end. So we'll have 6 talks in the second session, and then we can have a bonus round question. Plenty of time in the day. So I think we're all ready to go with Dickie to take it away, and I'll disappear at that point.
Thank you, Jack. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you, Jack, and welcome, Dickie.
Okay, thank you, Catalina and Jack. Also, how are you today?
Fine, and you? So now the floor is yours. We go to Indonesia now.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for the committee in Oxford. And I'm Dickie, and these are my fellows, 3 from the University of Pajajaran in Bandung, and 2 people are coming from the local government in West Lampung of Indonesia. We will talk actually about the geotourism development around geohazard prone area. It is in Suoh, West Lampung Regency, Sumatra, Indonesia. I would like to show you that this area is part of Indonesian frequent earthquake area, and because this location is prone to the Great Sumatran Fault, uh, thousands of kilometers from the northern tip of Aceh to the southern part of Sumatra next to the Krakatau volcano. So it is a very long fault line. It's a major fault line, and in within this fault line, there is an area of West Lampung Regency, and there is a Suoh area. As you can see here, you see the Nirwana Crater Lake in Suoh, and we prepare with the prismatic hot spring of Yellowstone in Wyoming, USA. So we think that this is a good start for us actually to make this area into the aspiring geopark. Um, this study aimed to assess the potential geotourism development, especially in and around Suoh area, despite its geohazard condition. You know, if we see in the top right of my presentation, we will see a lot of volcanoes around here, and we have this what we call as pull apart basin. So we do the research by geologic mapping. We did the field works, and then we do also the geomorphological analysis using remote sensing and GIS. So we can see here that the red line is the Great Sumatran Fault, and in this box we can see the Suoh area. And this is very interesting because this area is actually hidden before. So no tourism exists in this area. But recently we have local visitors and then also become local tourism within this area, despite its geological hazard condition. So this is actually a challenge for us, how we can prepare a safe geotourism in the future. So based on our result, there are some features of pull apart basin here: fault lineaments, triangular facets, steep scarps, and also lakes within this area. Hot springs, like what I have prepared before. This is possible for us to create this one into aspiring geopark. But the geotourism development here, like accessibility, amenity, and safety, is underway to develop. Another one is related also with the potential of biodiversity and also culture diversity. One of the most attraction here is the Asian elephant, and we have a program, not program actually, but an attraction to see the migration of this Asian elephant, whether it is an endangered under the criteria of A2C. And then another one is we have also tiger here in this area. And beside that one, if you see the figure below, we can see some tourists already been here, which is actually we have expectation that in the future will be more people coming, and will give this area into the prosperity in the future. So I hope this presentation also will give us some strength in our side that our aspiring geopark in Suoh will be possible for the future to be UNESCO Global Geopark. It's our dream. And I think that's my presentation for today. Thank you very much for your attention, and I hope this will be useful. Thank you.
Thank you, Dicky, and for being on time. So,
I hope it's 5 minutes.
so let's move. We still with the development of geotourism. Now we will welcome Dulmi to the room. Hello, Dulmi. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you.
So now the floor is yours.
Hello.
Hi, Dulmi. Your talk can start now if you want to put your slides in presenter mode, and then everyone will be able to see them.
I think it's all right now.
It is, but unfortunately, it's sharing the wrong screen. So are you able to click the settings that will flip the screens around? Otherwise, I would suggest you just click through the slides on the left-hand side of the edit screen. While Dummy's doing that, just a reminder to everyone at home, if you have any comments or questions, do keep them coming in via YouTube, Facebook, or you can put them on the Discord channel. And of course, our poster presenters have been working hard, and I'm sure we'll be more than happy to take your questions as they come in the Discord channel. Dummy, how are you getting on?
Please give me a minute.
Not a problem. What I'm going to recommend is that Dulmi's got some time to sort that. How about, Catalina, you introduce Joanna, the next speaker, and I'll help Dulmi sort out that technical problem.
Yeah, I agree. So let's welcome Joanna to the room. Hello, Joanna. How are you?
Hello, Catalina.
So
Thank
now
you.
we're going to Europe, to Portugal.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
It's very nice to be here again in Oxford virtual conference. Please, can you confirm me if you can see my full screen?
We don't see the full screen. We see only the slides.
Not the full screen?
No.
You don't see the full screen?
No.
And now?
Yeah.
No, the issue is that you've shared the screen on which your PowerPoint is, not the presentation view of the PowerPoint. So if are there videos or animations in your presentation?
No.
Then I recommend you just click through the slides on the left-hand side. They're big enough on our screen that people will be able to see them.
Perhaps, can I increase it a little bit?
Yep.
There we go.
Yep.
Let me just try to, one last, and now? Not.
I'm afraid not. It's sharing the wrong screen.
Well, so I will do it like this. So thank you very much. Thank you all the organizing committee. There's a very active and helpful team in the backstage. My name is Joana Rodrigues. I work for the Naturtege UNESCO Global Geopark. And now I will flash talk about a very successful Portuguese initiative that is the Guide of Portuguese Geological and Mine Sites that our geopark is part. And it's developed by a very huge, big network. So, as you may know, Portugal has a very rich geological history with old evidences of continental drifts, of mountains, evolution of life, with lots of geosites and geodiversity sites. And there's also a rich mining heritage and history with remains dating back from Roman times, Iron Age, also with the more recent remains. And we have also a very important heritage about First and Second World War mines that were very important in the Portuguese and European context. This guide of Portuguese geological and mine sites is a platform. It is promoted by two national institutions, that is the Directorate General of Energy and Geology and mining development company with the goal of promoting and disseminate this important heritage. It includes nowadays 41 partners, and the partners can be municipalities, universities, associations, public and private companies. And the initiative is already 12 years old. Every year, the number of partners is increasing. And there are very different sites like Roman mines, Wolfram mines from the First and Second World War, important remains. There's also museums, site museums dedicated to some important mines. There's also small museums devoted also to marble, cement, salt mines, salines. There's also important museums, national scale museums like the Geological Museum or the Natural History Museums. Also, the UNESCO Global Geoparks, the Portuguese Geoparks are also partners of these platforms. There's also Science Center, Interpretation Center, Karstic Caves, also geological trails, and all these partners together work in a networking to share the best practice and to promote these places. The most important event, it's a week, a national week, where all the partners open their doors and they present their sites. This platform that unfortunately today you cannot visit because it's being updated, brings together almost 150 points that can be visited. These sites have recreational, pedagogical, scientific, educational relevance, and the essential requirement is that they need to provide the minimum of conditions to visitation, or facilities, or guided visits, or some material that can support the visit, and they need to have an approach, a scientific approach also to this geological and this mining heritage. The platform, as I told you, is being updated now, and in the very near future, it will present these places. In the platform, you can find all the details for your visit, what time does the place open, if you need to pay, what can you visit there, what kind of routes you can do. There's also a part where you can do, or where you can use routes that are already establishing, thematic routes, for example, putting together Wolfram sites or putting together Roman mines, where you can travel all over Portugal and meet this place. Also, the platform has a part dedicated to the educational services of each partner, where you can find also the logistical information and everything to support teachers to preparing the field trips. And since 2015, the partners are organizing every year an ebook for educational services and school visits of all the partners. The booklet is in Portuguese, and it has hundreds of activities, not only face-to-face in the field, but also in the last 2 years, partners were obliged to organize and to promote also online resources, and teachers can prepare their visits under the framework of the national Portuguese curriculum with all the information they need to organize about the contact, about the school levels. And this last year, a very active working group refreshed the booklet, so now it's even more easy to access and to understand and to use. And just to conclude, the mining route has 13 years. You can follow the activity on the Facebook page. Our Geopark is a proud member of this project with more than 41 partners, and I hope that the IT team and the coordination of the platform is working very hard to have the updated platform available as soon as possible. So if you have time, please pass there. I will leave here in the chat the link so that you can understand a bit more about this platform. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Joanna, for this interesting experience of the Naturtejo UNESCO Global Geopark. So now we will go to Dulmi, back again to Dulmi. Let me invite her to the room. How are you, Dulmi? Everything ready?
Thank you. I'm sorry for the inconvenience caused by me.
Sorry? Oh, okay.
I'm sorry for the inconvenience caused by me.
So here, now, the floor is yours. Remember, you have 5 minutes.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Dulmi Bandara Firstly, this image shows a natural wind-powered iron smelting site. Our research is based on this. The promotion of geotourism in iron smelting sites of Samalalawa, Balangoda, Sri Lanka. According to the history, world's first natural wind-powered iron smelting sites with a unique technology are found in Samalalawa area. This area shows an extreme distinctiveness in both means of location and geomorphology. The chosen area is about 60 square kilometers centered by the reservoir with a steep terrain and thick vegetation. The steep terrain includes hilltops and bottom valleys in between the central highlands and lowland plains of Sri Lanka. The climate here is dominated by desiccating winds in association with southwest monsoons from June to September. During the excavations, about 139 ironworking sites have been found in this area, and out of that, 77 are west facing to obtain the maximum wind during the monsoons. And most importantly, this area is enclosed by a number of mountains so that the high velocity wind that blows across Samalalawa area is constant in both time and direction. The extraordinary technology used here is wind-based air supply principle. The west-oriented furnaces have comprised of a semi-permanent rear wall and temporary front wall. The front wall was constructed on a layer of clay pipes that facilitated with airflow into the furnace. Fire has been set within the furnace by using layers of paddy husk, paddy straw, and charcoal on the surface. The heat generated by this has caused the smelting by reaching a temperature of 1200 degrees Celsius and the required reducing conditions. The surrounding hilltops have provided the condylite as the raw material, and the charcoal requirement has been fulfilled by the native plant species such as Syzygium abundantly found in this area. Prior to the discovery of this incredible work, archaeometallurgists believed that wind-powered iron smelting was not possible, as well as the sufficient speed and the constancy of the wind was not guaranteed. But this pristine technology overcame all these assumptions, being one of the most efficient and least expensive iron smelting methods. The main reason for this high efficiency here was use of the infrared blowing over the furnace to suck air in rather than relying on the direct wind pressure. This technique has produced cast iron that cannot be produced by pumping the bellows. And the carbon steel was relatively free of slag fragments. That means not needed to be gone through a refining stage. Type of this steel was exported to the Islamic world during that era to produce world-famous Damascus swords. And this shows how significant this technology was to gain the name as Serendip steel, particularly for the steel produced in Sri Lanka. So this investigation shows the desirability of this area for national heritage as well as its potential for geotourism, so that we have proposed a geotour plan to convert this area into a geotourism destination. The suggested geotourism plan includes 9 basic steps. The legal background and the administration of the site come under responsible government bodies including Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority, Central Environmental Authority, and the Ministry of Tourism in Sri Lanka. The site personnel recruitment and site operations are intended to be customized based on the requirements of the site. And in case of infrastructure, here we have shown the model that we have designed implemented here. And this may include a reception, souvenir center, research center, and museum. Newspaper articles, travel brochures, all photographs, books, and other related documents will be placed there. Furthermore, the furnace will be recreated in the functioning form in the site premises. Through this, we expect to provide information, knowledge, research, and training opportunities, tourist satisfaction, and value-added improved natural splendor to the outside world. And here we highly recommend to do an initial environmental examination or environmental impact assessment prior to the constructions under the guidelines of Central Environmental Authority. And it's better if we can have the stakeholder involvement from parties such as community, Suburban University of Sri Lanka, and the hoteliers in area. To provide an outstanding travel experience, we incorporate our geotour plan with the other tourist attractions such as Ancient Temple in Kinchugune, Museum of Suburban University of Sri Lanka, Samalalawa Dam, and the excavated marble quarry in Olithanna. And finally, to promote this area as a geotourism destination, we propose a destination marketing campaign for this area. This may include a particular website for this area, raising awareness through social media and development of the awareness among the tour operators, and inclusion of this area as a tourist destination under the guidelines of Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority. For an example, the sightseeing guide that we have designed for this site is shown here. And in conclusion, we expect this research attempt to become an initial step in promotion of geotourism in Sri Lanka. Thank you.
Thank you, Dolmi, for this geotourism perspective for Sri Lanka. So now we are going to Adele. I invite Adele. Hello, how are you, Adele?
Hello, I'm fine. You? It's okay?
Thank you very much. So we continue with this interesting link between geoheritage and inhabitants.
Oh,
The floor is all of yours.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm Adele. I'm from Italy. I'm the secretary member of the Maiella UNESCO Global Geopark Scientific Committee, and I'm presenting you today some new geotrails that were realized or planning during this month. And okay, it works. Well, one of them will be dedicated to an important paleontological site with Rudis, as you can see on the left, and including other 3 geosites in the area. And this site is related to the Orgonian facies, and the well-preserved condition of the outcrop and the rarity of the Orgonian facies in the whole area of the park led the authority to designate the Fara San Martino Rudis paleontological site as a geosite. And an international relevance and scientific and educational values for the site has been assessed. The area around the paleontological site with Rudis and the site itself was a quarry area until the early 80s, when the dam Meyer stopped the extraction and the destruction of the mountain, because the proximity of the site to the town has meant that for centuries the inhabitants of the valley sourced from it for building material, as you can see from the right, totally ignoring the scientific importance of the site. And walls made with black studded with these fossils are visible and visitable, not only in correspondence of the outcrop in the mountain, but simply walking around in the town too. So the geotouristic trail will allow to know the geology of the area, but also the art, the culture. You can see a nature drawing representing the town and the strata of the mountain on his back. And the itinerary will allow to observe and study in detail the paleontological site simply by walking in the town, avoiding reaching the outcrop in the mountain to better protect and conserve it. Another one is the Miners Trail, was opened last June during the 13th National Day of Mines. And it's a project that aims to retrace the paths used by miners until the 1956 in the Maiella mining district. And several hundred people have already booked a guided tour through the park visitor centers, increasing the local economy from last June to today. And the last one, but not the least, is the Liberation Trail that aims to enhance and to value the stretch of the Gustav Line. That was a German fortification line during the Second World War, which in the Maiella Massif stretch in the center of Italy, run from the Maiella Massif to the Adriatic coast on the east side of Italy. And linking the history with other issues like such military geology, nature, and culture, to better understand the contribution of landscape to the mountain warfare events during the Second World War. And in the municipalities involved in the project, digital station will be set up in which tourists will make use of 3D technologies like the Oculus Quest, thus making knowledge of the area also accessible to people with disabilities that cannot go on the mountain to see the trenches and the remains of the buildings of the Second World War. And so the Maiella Massif is territory since the dawn of the human presence that in Mayala area was dated to 600,000 years ago, has been inhabited and always been a strong support, a shelter, and an opportunity for local economy despite its difficult harsh morphology. And we consider it as a cascade which preserves the biological, environmental, landscape, anthropological, and cultural richness of the entire Mayala territory. I finished. Maybe I was so short, but maybe it's better for all of you. So I'd like to thank all the organization for permitting me to be here today.
Thank you, Adele. So indeed, you were very, very on time. So now we will go to, we will welcome Sara Gentilini, who will present us a very, very interesting project that I really like.
Hello.
And so the floor is all of yours.
Hello, good afternoon, directly from the underground of UNESCO in Paris. Yes, I'm Sara Gentilini, I'm from Magma UNESCO Global Geopark in Norway, and I'm very delighted to present our GeoFood initiatives and the EGCP Project 726. Yes, GeoFood, you can find all information on geofood.no. GeoFood, it's a lot about people, about education, about science, about taste and visit, and about sustainability. Basically, GeoFood, it's initiatives led by Magma UNESCO Global Geopark that born in 2015. It's open to all UNESCO Global Geopark that want to join. And it's basic valorization project that highlighting the rural communities' effort to valorize local product and the cooperation with the local producer in each UNESCO Global Geopark. We are also working very much in education. We are developing educational tools like leaflet, brochure, and we are developing conferences and webinars all together. At the moment, we are 32 UNESCO Global Geopark in 20 countries. And as I said, every UNESCO Global Geopark can be member. Being member means that working within UNESCO Global Geopark values, we are underlining the importance of local food and the awareness of the importance of geological heritage as a base for local food development and cooperation in developing educational material and even research within the sustainability model. In fact, the project, the EGCP Project 726, GeoFood for Sustainable Development in UNESCO Global Geopark, was awarded 2 years ago, and we won as the best project that applied that year. We won the competition thanks to amazing job of our colleagues from Naturtejo, Joana Rodriguez and Cristian Ciobanu from Romania, UNESCO Global Geopark Hattic, and other members. They support us in writing the applications. Now they are supporting us in developing the project. So as you can see, we are 56 members from 28 countries. All the 32 UNESCO Global Geopark that are GeoFood member are also part of the project. Together, we are developing research that going around and developing further the knowledge related with geosciences and local food. Basically, we have developed during the first year a database which included all the main issues related with thematic related with local food development in a database which is available online at geofood.no. Then we have developed a GeoFood game, which is really a nice, fancy way to learn about the geo products and geopark, and is available for free for all of you to be downloaded and play again from the webpage. And we are going to develop methodologies for implementation of the GeoFood brand into territories, and toolkit and implementation of the strategy. I like to say the GeoFood set common values and common manifesto for all the members. And the manifesto and the values are enhancing the role of local sourced food as a key for rural development. And we are going to go forward with this project for 3 years more. But beside the research project, we are also working on other funding that want to develop a GeoFood network within UNESCO Global Geopark network even further. So thank you for your attention, and please, if you have any questions, just contact me at Sara bagmageopark.com.
Sarah, thank you for very fast but consistent presentation. So I see Mohammed now has solved the technical problems. Is that it? Oh, sorry. Mohammed,
Hi
are you there?
everyone. Yes,
So
I
let's
think I have
see
uploaded the presentation. Let's see.
if it
Yes, it
works.
is. I think it's okay.
Perfect. So now 5 minutes,
Okay, thank you for the time, and I'm really sorry because I need to present another presentation, but I faced some problems. So this one is the geoheritage map of hard fall and thrust belt and its potential candidacy for an inspiring global geopark in Pakistan. Maybe you all know that we don't have any global geopark so far in Pakistan. So this is a kind of first initiative. I'm going to the next slide. So I think there are so many slides, but I will try to finish it in 5 minutes. So the area I selected is mostly the structural fall and thrust belt. So they are very diverse geologically, and we have very excellent exposure of the sequences that is ranging from Mesozoic to Quaternary ages. And then if you see these two images, maybe it's small, but we have highlighted the probable, you can say the possible geosites in the area. Uh, this one is showing the geological map and possible geosite of the study area. Actually, this map is created because of extensive geological fieldwork that is conducted to this the area, and yes, you can say that the area is very geologically diverse and have potential of geoparks. Preliminary work in Pakistan so far, the idea is a new to Pakistan. So uh, for me, I done few work in 2019, 21, and then 22 AB. These are some of the previous work I have done. So I have taken these as example, and then try to work further on that area. Uh, these are some of the examples from the geological map and geomorphological features of the Hingo National Park. So, and this also again in Pakistan, and this is recently done by me in the research publication in Geoheritage Journal. You can see that there are some volcanoes. So we have highlighted these volcanoes and some of the geological feature that is created by extensive erosion, or you can say of extensive weathering. So I want to make it small. So the geological map of Salt Range, another site in Pakistan, I have proposed it because of numerous geological features that have worth, you can say, have geodiversity values. Mm, Again, you can see in these images that we have done in Salt Range the geological field work, and then uh, we have considered these as a geopark. So for another one is in the Noshira Reef complex, you can say this is an area. Again, we have the volcanic ignimbrites and some complex reef complex. So we consider these area, then the photography, and then the field works, collected samples. Again, we investigated by these phenomena that these are degrading with the time. So this needs proper geoconservations. Again, this proposed geosite is need further detailed work. So we have the materials and methods of using UAVs and GIS methods. Well, this UAVs we will need to make a 360 panoramas and then the three-dimensional models, as previously done by some recent studies, and like the tectonic geoheritage of the Western Gondwana. And then this one is the geoheritage map of Fort Funio Natural Park, Italy. So this required like the current activities and further prospect will be already had done the geological field work, and then the petrography of the sites will be done. The UAV and the GIS integration will be done, and then the detailed geological map will be created, and these values, that is the quantitative and qualitative assessments, will be done with scientific value, educational values, potential sites, and many risk degradation factors. These are the some of the features, typical geological feature of sedimentary origins we encountered during our field work. These are different formations and their fossils collections. Again, these are some structure feature that is occur in this area that can be proposed as a global geopark. So these I don't want to go into details, but these are some of the typical features that have you can say good representation, good aesthetic values, scientific values, and so based on these values we can encounter them as a global geopark. Again, you can see these are taken from the maps. The map shows the excellent faults, again some Overton faults, some fault related faults during the field work. Again, you can see in these geological maps the location of the different fault system that occur within this cohort fault and thrust belts. So again, there is a combination of the fossils and the panoramic views of the different formation exposed in this global geopark. These you can say different formation, Lockhart formation, Kawagar formation, different fold, different axes, and all these. So this is a kind of project that is done with the collaboration of University of Göttingen. So where I will work like with these professors to further carry out the work and make them as a global geopark. So these are some of the references I have chosen, and thank you so much for this flash talk. And if you have any question, I am ready. I'm sorry because it took some time, some technical issue, but I'm not sure that I have finished it very quickly.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Mohammed.
much. Thank you.
Thank you. We will invite now all the other that have presented, other speakers. Let me see who I'm missing here. Let's see. I guess Sarah. I don't see Sarah, but I've seen that you already answered, Karen. Some of you already answered. I see Joanna already answered to the question. So I don't know if between you, do you have any questions between you? The time giving some time to people watching us to send their questions between you. Any comment, question?
I'd like to say to Joanna that maybe I'll come and visit the mining district of the Portugal, so we can share information and maybe make a project together with the mining district in Italy. We are so close, so we can maybe work together in the future. We are starting now, so it's just the beginning of this project. So thank you for your presentation, Joanna, for the material and for sharing.
We are working also with the Spanish colleagues are also developing a network of these mining sites. So it could be interesting to try to replicate the project and the model for other countries. Yes, of course.
Yeah. Thank you.
So
Can I have a question?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's for the committee actually. Considering that we are here in the group of two European and three Asian aspiring geopark, right? So maybe we can have some more conversation later on or exchange information. Do you think that's possible by the committee?
Sorry, is that for us? The question is for us?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so we can talk later about that. Now we we don't have more questions. We can
Yes.
talk that later, and we
Okay.
will
Later
switch to the last
can keep
session
in
of
touch.
this second version of the Oxford GeoHeritage Virtual Conference.
Yes.
So we will have the keynote of Prof. Priscilla. So stay connected with us, and thank you all of you again for your flash talks. And Vicky, we can talk
Later on. Okay, good. 2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
Let's communicate together, yeah?
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.